against Orem. Orem won the toss. They have deferred, so they will be kicking off. And Skyline's offense will come out and take the football first. Jeremy Gunter, the kicker. He does it all, actually. Kick is away, and we are off and running. The kickoff sponsored by Granite Furniture. And on a mushy field, a return all the way up to the 37-yard line. And footing is going to be something very interesting to keep an eye on today. No question about that. There are puddles everywhere.
Well, you can see them, and they're all, most of the biggest puddles are right between the hash marks. This field is already getting chewed up after just one kickoff, and it is really going to get worn out this afternoon.
Jason Anderson, quarterback number 9, will bring out the Skyline Eagles, the defending state 5A champs. 9 state titles for this team. They always seem to be in the hunt every year. 1st and 10, we are underway. And a quick handoff right up the middle, but not much doing there as the Orem defensive line holds its ground. That's Jackson Peck, but he gets very little. Let's take a look at the Eagles' starting offense. There's your line. The center, Matt Cowley, 6 foot, 190-pound senior. Quarterback is Anderson, Jason Anderson, the 6'2", 180-pound senior. And they'll do a lot of running with those running backs. Jackson Peck, Gustafson will get a little work. And again, it's right up the middle and through the slush. Good yardage this time. Wayne Workman in on the stop. And Peck ends up picking up about 7 yards. So that's going to bring up a 3rd down and about 2.
Peck's run for 762 yards on the year, and on a day like this, run straight ahead, head for the goal line. There is some better footing maybe out wide, but when you try and turn the corner, you're going to be able to keep your feet.
And they're right in the middle of the mush right now. So they need 2 yards, and as you point out, David, generally speaking, it's right up the middle. They'll take the right side, though, and it doesn't work. Skyline is shut down on this drive by Orem, so Orem comes out, and they did exactly what you're supposed to do when you defer. You give the ball to the other team and then stop them, and now Orem will get its shot.
Well, you like to be getting a little better field position than this, so the good kick return, if Skyline can get a good punt away here, that'll back Orem up a little bit. And this is going to, on this field, I mean, you can just feel it already. Turnovers are going to play a huge part in this game. The ball is just going to get waterlogged. Everyone's fingers are going to get cold and numb. So people are going to be playing for field position all day long.
The do-it-all, Jason Anderson, will also punt. And the ball a little wet, as you say. It's going to be tough to get it to do anything, really, that you want. Punt down to the 19-yard line, though. And that is where Orem will take over at 1st and 10 in the state 5A football championship. Reese Stein is down on the field, and we'll be hearing from Reese throughout. And the worst of this, Reese, it appears, is from about the 35-yard line of Skyline right around to midfield. That's where the biggest and deepest puddles are.
Didn't take them long to ruin the field when they came out, just warming up, and this field's going to get worse and worse as the day goes on. And with 2 power teams like these two, blocking up front is going to play a key role for both teams.
Austin Burge is the quarterback for the Orem Tigers. And he'll give off to Jared Harper, and he is met immediately. Big 77, Bill Edwards with the hit, but gets enough forward motion there to pick up about 3 yards. Let's set your Orem offense to get things going here. Here's your offensive line. They'll throw a little bit to Falmo, the tight end there, has 14 receptions on the season. And then Austin Burge, of course, the quarterback, and Jared Harper, the running back, that'll get quite a bit of the work along with Adam Leifson when he comes in, number 31. Once again, it is Harper who bumps in one of his linemen and still falls forward for a couple of more yards. So the Tigers are going to be left with about a 3rd and 3. Defensively for Skyline, across the line right there. A couple of juniors are on that line as well, along with a couple of seniors. And at linebackers, Stevens and Edwards, and Dave Grant, number 11, is the backup quarterback, but also plays the safety position there. 3rd down, Orem needs 3 yards. Handoff once again to Harper, and he's got it. And again, nothing fancy. But you're working with a sloppy field, and that's the way you got to play football in a day like this.
You can't tell it by looking at Harper right now, but he is actually a pretty explosive back, and thanks in large part to his offensive line. He is averaging more than 9 yards a carry this year. He's run for 1,200 yards on the season, 14 touchdowns. And Reese, you were at the quarterfinal game when he broke off the 99-yarder.
This kid's 220 pounds. He went 99 yards. Nobody on the Hunter team could come even close to him. Quite a running back. Had 2 big, long touchdown runs last week in the semis, too.
And the other running back is Adam Leifson, and he gets the carry here. And good yardage for Leifson up to the 37. They'll spot it just beyond the 37 before he is finally brought down. So a nice little 1-2 punch in the backfield for Orem.
Now, Leifson had a touchdown in the semifinal win last week at Rice Stadium that got him here. And you can see Orem, their offensive line a little bigger. They got a few pounds on Skyline, and they're going to run at them, especially with the field conditions anyway. But that would have been their normal game plan anyway. But especially with these field conditions, they are really going to pound away right at them.
295-pounder, number 65 on the left side. Good yardage again for Leifson. He's got a first down as he crosses the 40 up to the 43. And again, it's Bill Edwards, number 77. We'll call his number a few times as you could see him right there trying to charge the Skyline defense and get him going.
Nothing fancy so far from Orem, and we have to keep an eye on that. They're just running between the tackles, pounding away, but we've seen them in the championship game 2 of the last 3 years. This is their 3rd trip in 4 years, and we have seen them pull some trickery. Even on this field, you can never be exactly sure what they might pull on you.
There's no sense holding anything back now. Another flag is down here, but another running back into the game is John Barlow now for Orem. He is number 24, picks up good yardage, but let's wait and see what the flag is here. If it doesn't affect Orem, they pick up 5 yards there. It's a motion penalty, though, so this one's coming back. Here's John Barlow.
Both these teams are fairly explosive and they can overcome penalties. They can make big plays with their ground attack. But on this field, penalties could be even more important today. They could really be drive killers because your options are going to be a little limited by the weather.
You know, David, Skyline's offense relies on Jason Anderson getting outside, too. If Orem can keep pounding it up the middle like this, they're going to have the advantage because Skyline, as we've already seen once, trying to go wide. They just can't do it on this slippery field. The linemen can't get out to make their blocks going laterally. This is going to be trench warfare all the way.
So they'll move it back 5 yards, and it's a 1st and 15 for Orem. Austin Burge is the quarterback, gives off to John Barlow. And nothing there as the Skyline defense converges. They swarm, and again, it's led by 77, Bill Edwards. He seems to be in on every play so far today. You also saw Dave Grant, number 11, come in and help out.
Well, we've seen nothing but running plays from Orem. They do throw the ball a little bit. Burge only averages about 10 attempts a game. He has completed 53% of his passes on the year, averages about 10 attempts and a little more than 100 yards passing, but they do strike for the big play through the air. They're getting in a passing situation here on 2nd and 13.
Adam Leifson, and Leifson is wrapped up and dropped for a loss in the backfield. Big defensive play by Skyline. Travis Higham was in on that.
He got through in a hurry. You can see him coming from the top of your screen. Leifson takes 2 steps and it's over. He never had a chance to get started. Great tackle. Leifson kept the legs going, kept trying to break free, but wrapped him up and dropped him.
I said Travis was in on that. Travis was the play. 3rd down now, and here's that passing situation you referred to. The Orem Tigers need to pass the 50-yard line down to the 47 for a 1st down. So they got about 18 yards to go, and they're going to keep it on the ground. It's Harper. And Harper gets close to the original line of scrimmage before Bill Edwards again brings him down, but not nearly enough. So even when you would figure that they have to pass, they're not doing it.
Well, they have broken big plays with their ground attack. We mentioned his 99-yard touchdown run. He had 2 long touchdown runs last week. They give it to Harper, see if he can get it done. But I think they're just playing for a little bit of field position here early in the game. They're going to be able to punt this and maybe get Skyline backed up inside their 30, maybe inside their 25-yard line. The Skyline is dropping 2 guys back to return this punt, trying to keep that directional punting, not have the big roll. They want to pick this thing up and not give up 10 or 15 yards on the roll.
Rutger's kick. Heading over in the direction of Anderson. He calls for a fair catch, and Skyline will come out at the 20-yard line, and that's where they'll take over. We are scoreless in the state 5A football championship game.
Hey, cookies. Say, you know, I think our neighbor might like one, too. Yeah? Well,
Here you go.
Thank you.
terrific. Excellent.
Got milk?
Now that cold weather set in, come into Intermountain Farmers for warmer work clothing. Because if your job keeps you outside during the winter months, you know how cold it can get. Dressing properly can be critical. So whether your outdoor activities are for work or for fun, come see our stylish new jackets and workable insulated coveralls. Designed to be convenient and easy to put on as well as comfortable to work in. IFA has the cold weather apparel you need at a price you can afford.
We're still serving your needs at home and on the farm. We're IFA.
Hungry children in Utah need your help
This season, team up with us
to help feed Utah families.
in a true spirit of giving.
Bring your canned goods to Channel 2, Granite Furniture, or the Utah Food Bank. Volunteers will take your donations where they're needed most.
When we all give a little,
We'll make a big difference. Together,
we'll be bagging hungry for the holidays.
Sponsored by Granite Furniture, Utah's favorite home team since 1910.
hey, deliver these, will ya?
Grab the keys to a Mercury Sable and you won't let go. It's the roomiest Sable model ever, so there's a place for 5 or 6. Make space for whatever you like with this split-fold rear seat. And if you want even more room, choose a Mercury Sable wagon for the same low price. Mercury Sable, at your Mercury dealer now.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury now.
I just wonder if you're just going to...
Welcome back to the state 5A football championship. Both teams have held defensively, and on this field, I suspect you're going to see a little bit of that today. The Skyline Eagles come back out. Jason Anderson. And
Halfback option.
Halfback option. We've seen a little bit of this, and wide open is Derek Maxfield. And Maxfield is finally run down. A great play all the way down to the 25-yard line. But again, those are the things that you see in a championship football game because there is no reason to hide anything. It's the last game of the year. May as well pull out all the stops.
Well, it's a great call on a day like this. Both teams have come out running on their first possessions. You expect the run. You're sneaking up a little bit. And the option pass is wide open for the big gain. And they get all the field position back. Now it's 1st and 10 down at the 25-yard line. He was wide open. If that ball led him a little more, he might have scored.
Huge play for 46 yards, and the Eagles now approaching scoring territory. They're at the 25. Jason Anderson, the quarterback. They'll keep it on the ground. John Christopherson wrapped up. Look at all of the Orem Tigers that are there to meet him. Let's set your Orem defense for you. The defensive line, they got some good size on both sides of the line. These guys in the 230-pound range. It was Michael Tanner who had the big interception last week in the semifinal game that preserved the victory for Orem and got him here to the championship. And then your 2 cornerbacks and your safety. And right now, Skyline with a 2nd down and 8 in scoring territory. Ball is almost fumbled. Josh Lyman turned, stretched out his hands, and very fortunate for the Eagles was able to grab that football.
This is something we saw last week in the bad weather at Rice Stadium in the semifinals. In those 2 games, there were 19 times the ball was loose and on the ground, and the weather today is even worse. Now, the thing you got to know about Skyline now, their kicking game, and we mentioned they're down in scoring position. This would be a 42-yard field goal attempt from here. They don't pick up the 1st down, but this is, you take one more look and you see the ball just popping loose right there. I mean, that could have been anybody's ball. The thing about Skyline is they've only kicked 3 field goals all year long. They need to punch this ball in the end zone. They do not have a good kicking game this year. Made about half their point afters and 3 of 6 on field goal attempts. They rely on putting the ball in the end zone. They do not rely on their kicking game.
Referees are changing footballs right now. The other one just a little too wet, but it's going to be tough to keep the football dry on a day like this.
The word impossible comes to mind.
3rd down and 10 for Skyline. Anderson to throw. And the pass is complete to Lyman. A nice catch. It looks like it's going to be short of the first down, but there is a flag. Let's wait and see what this is all about. Brad Watts on coverage for Orem. And the Tigers are pointing Skyline's direction.
This is a great throw. I mean, he's going to scramble here. Anderson scrambling. He's going to roll and throw across his body. Perfect touch, just dropping it over the defender right here. Drops it right over the defender, hits his receiver in stride. It would have been 4th down and about a foot, but right now it looks like the flag is going to go against Skyline. They're backing up, talking to the Orem guys, so forget 4th and a foot. It's going to be 3rd and forever.
Ineligible receiver downfield. You saw a lineman way downfield. So that's going to move him back. They'll still have 3rd down, but it's going to be about 3rd and appears to be 15. 3rd and 15 is what they'll have.
Roger Dupay, Skyline head coach. Trying to win his 3rd state title in 4 years.
4 wide receivers in this setup for Jason Anderson. Anderson looking. Anderson will keep it, and he's going to be stopped well short of the first down. Good coverage. Michael Tanner came up to force Anderson out of bounds. And now, as you say, David, the field goal kicking unit of Skyline might not be good enough from this range and on this field.
Well, Anderson's not taking any chances. He knows it might be 4-down territory. He's going to scramble, pick up some of the yards, give him a long 4th down, but a makeable one. But this would be a 39-yard field goal. The longest field goal Skyline's tried this year, I believe, is a 37-yarder. The longest one they made was a 31-yarder.
Well, they'll go for it here. And that long one was probably on a dry field.
Yeah, probably.
4th down, they need 7. They need to get to the 15-yard line. Quick pass right in the middle. Lyman's got it, but he's going to be stopped short. Orem's defense is held. Wayne Workman is there for the stop, and the Tigers will take over. We'll be back to the state 5A football championship game. We're still scoreless here in the first quarter.
This home improvement tip brought to you by Economy Builder Supply. Have you ever wondered how professionals get those even cuts on crown molding?
Use a miter saw. We're using the DeWalt DW705 compound miter saw. Boy, it makes the job easy.
Just set the angle in the head.
That's the motor and the blade.
At a 45-degree angle.
Then lay the molding flat and tight against the fence.
Make sure you have your safety glasses on.
Start the blade away from the crown molding so you don't splinter it and bring her on down.
Boy, that's a great fit. This home improvement tip brought to you by DeWalt Power Tools and Economy Builder Supply. We cut prices, not quality.
Now that cold weather set in, come into Intermountain Farmers for warmer work clothing. Because if your job keeps you outside during the winter months, you know how cold it can get. Dressing properly can be critical. So whether your outdoor activities are for work or for fun, come see our stylish new jackets and workable insulated coveralls. Designed to be convenient and easy to put on as well as comfortable to work in. IFA has the cold weather apparel you need at a price you can afford.
We're still serving your needs at home and on the farm. We're IFA.
Well, Orem's defense has held once again, and Skyline using the one big play to get down into Orem territory, but they were shut down from there. So here come the Tigers once again, 1st and 10. Austin Burge brings him out, and Austin's going to go to the air. Can't find a receiver. He's going to run it, and Burge is going to get nothing here. Andrew Silko there on the stop. But boy, it is just tough to get anything going and on a field like this other than just pounding it right up the middle.
You saw Burge's numbers. They're running for a little less than 300 yards this year. Not really his role. But the smartest thing he does here is just holding on to the ball. You can see every time he takes a step, the water's kicking up. The footing's terrible. A turnover could play a huge role in this game. Better to put the ball away, run back up towards the line of scrimmage, and make it 2nd and 10. It's the smartest play sometimes.
Burge keeps. And Burge busts out a one tackle, and he has a 1st down across the 35-yard line to the 36. Or Jake Stevens finally runs him down.
You know, we're really starting to see with the footing. He had pretty good footing once he got outside the hash marks because they have been pounding away between the tackles. When you look at the whole field now, the section between the 20-yard lines and between the hash marks is worn up. The rest of the field looks a little better. Burge gets outside here, and he has no problem cutting up field, slipping a tackler, keeping his feet, and then ducking under the big hit. Boy, that was a concussion forearm coming right there, wasn't it? That was going to be a forearm to the skull. Getting down was a good idea.
1st and 10 for Austin Burge and the Orem Tigers. A little movement in the backfield. No flag, though, as they go right up the pipe. Jared Harper. And with a fine push from that offensive line, he'll get 4 yards. Reese, you're right in the middle of that, and you can see water kicking up everywhere, and it looks like especially the receivers on passing routes are kind of tiptoeing around to keep from slipping.
On the nice run by Burge, he slipped the tackler on the first cut. Once he got upfield, he was doing just fine. It's making that cut that's the tough part.
Our sideline reports brought to you by Utah Dairy Farmers. 2nd down and 6. Leifson. And Leifson, the tailback. Look at the push. He gets up all the way to midfield, all the way up to the 50-yard line. And you got to credit Jared Porter, too. Porter was right with him. He just piggybacked all the way up before Bill Edwards finally brought him down. That's good teamwork there from a lineman and a running back.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Harper and the 1,200 yards he ran for his 99-yard score, but Leifson has run for 862 yards this year. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, and you see him just keep the legs going. He gets hard, gets low, and just powers forward and gets the first down out of midfield.
1st and 10 for Orem. Nothing doing on this one as Harper is met right at the line, and this time the Skyline defense converges. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10, and we are approaching the end of the first quarter. A sloppy field has prevented either team from scoring so far in the State High School Football Championship for the 5A football teams. And we'll take a break now. We're enjoying 5A Football Championship here on KUTV, and we'll be back with the second quarter. No score up in Ogden.
The mystery of the blinking rings. And now, my finest illusion. Voila! Empty! Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, no, please don't get up. You're too kind. Thank you. It's not necessary for you to...
Got milk?
No.
Hungry children in Utah need your help
This season, team up with us
to help feed Utah families.
in the true spirit of giving.
Bring your canned goods to Channel 2, Granite Furniture, or the Utah Food Bank. Volunteers will take your donations where they're needed most.
When we all give a little,
We'll make a big difference. Together,
we'll be back and hungry for the holidays.
Sponsored by Granite Furniture, Utah's favorite home team since 1910.
hey, deliver these, will ya?
Imagine something new to get excited about. The 1997 Mercury Mountaineer. Easy to get used to in more ways than one. Wherever you look, you're going to love the Mountaineer. The sport utility you can step right into. It's got loads of safety features, and with all-wheel drive, this hassle-free system is engaged whenever you drive. Maybe it is time to imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury now.
Look at these guys. We move into the second quarter. Hey, they don't care what the weather's like. It's high school football championship time. Orem and Skyline as we move into the second quarter. A nice run on the, before we went to break, it was John Barlow. We said it was Adam Leifson. It's John Barlow. Actually, I said that, didn't I?
Yeah, I went along. No, I'm guilty too.
Okay.
I'll back you up on that.
Flag is flying right now, so this Leifson run might be coming back. We'll check that.
And Barlow is used as the third back in this offense, and he has gained almost 500 yards this year. He's averaging 8.8 yards a carry. I mean, Harper, Leifson, and Barlow are just unbelievable on the ground, and this tells you a lot about the offensive line. You got to credit them.
Right.
But those three guys have run for more than 2,500 yards this year. Leifson, Harper, and Barlow. I mean, it is tremendous. When your third back is a guy like Barlow, who's averaging almost 9 yards a carry, who's scored 7 touchdowns, who's broken off an 81-yard touchdown run, you're pretty deep.
And they've piled up some yards in the first quarter of this game as well, while Skyline's struggled with their ground game.
Orem has 57 yards rushing, Skyline 16. Skyline, the only pass of the game, a 46-yard gain. Orem has not thrown it yet, so total yardage pretty close, 62 to 57. Orem has had the ball for 7 minutes and 40 seconds, and with their big offensive line, you got to see if they'll wear Skyline down over the course of the game.
Second down and 15 after the 5-yard penalty, and Adam Leifson is wrapped up. He may lose a half a yard here. Dave Grant, the backup quarterback, comes up shaking his fist, making a big play there. It'll be no gain.
We can take a look at the common opponents. These teams have played 4 teams in common, although they did not meet head-to-head in the regular season. In the season opener, Orem lost to Timpview in a shootout. Skyline beat them mid-season at Skyline 39-15. Both teams beat Mountain View. Orem lost to Brighton. That's the reason they didn't win their region title. Skyline beat Brighton in the semis, but Skyline lost to Highland. That's why they didn't win their region title. Highland got beat by Orem in the semis. So we got a little combination here. Both teams had a regular season loss to a region opponent who got to go into the playoffs as a #1 seed. Yeah, the teams both turned around and beat the other school.
Interesting that neither one could win the region titles, and yet here they are in the championship game. 3rd down and 15.
And they were both #2 seeds coming into the playoffs, but great schools, great playoff traditions, and 2 pretty tough regions, especially Orem coming out of Region 4.
Quick pass for Burge right over the middle, and it is complete, but it's going to be about 5 yards short of the 40-yard line. Kukuhiko on the reception.
He scored 5 touchdowns this year, almost 500 yards receiving. Look how much, Austin Burge puts something on this ball, and it's up high where if he doesn't pull it in, nice catch though, pulls it right down. That ball gets deflected up in the air, intercepted, it's trouble. That's a lot of confidence in some bad weather and executing well, but 4th down, you're not going to gamble. Field position's too important today. You're going to punt it away, and Skyline's got 2 guys back. They do not want to let these balls roll down there and cost them 10 or 15 yards.
Gunter's kick headed towards Spencer Segota. Splashes out of bounds, and they're going to spot it at the 12-yard line. We'll take a break. We're still looking for a score here at the 5A football championship.
Howard, you're a painting contractor, but you came into Eagle Hardware for lumber and fasteners. How come?
I like Eagle because they have everything and lots of it, and I like to get in and get out. I don't like messing around. I have 3 guys waiting for these screws.
Oh, really? What's that costing you?
Well, I don't know the exact figure, but
figuring the benefits.
I want them working.
Eagle Hardware and Garden. More of everything.
Warm up any work site with propane heaters from Shoe. Great for any unheated work area. Safe, efficient, and easy to operate. Shoe products at Eagle.
No dogs, no stoplights, no rain. Just getting fit, staying fit, losing the fat. Yeah, you can get fit with this. Into running, walking, you will reach your goal. You cannot stop. This is why. Keeps you moving. Call it motivation. Want it higher, harder, steeper? You will get there. You won't pound your knees, your ankles, your joints. This tells you where you are, how far you'll go, and what you'll attain. So when you get there, it gets out of your way. Space Saver Thin Line from Proform. Hey, this isn't much. This is smart.
The new Proform Space Saver treadmill, more compact than ever. Call for a 30-day in-home trial.
10.5 minutes to go here in the 2nd quarter. State 5A football championship. Skyline against Orem in a ground game battle. And Skyline keeping it on the ground once again with Jackson Peck.
Roger Dupay brought the wishbone from Air Force Academy. He saw it over there, studied it, brought it to Highland High School, had a lot of success. Then when he moved to Skyline 10 years ago, took it up to Skyline. It's been very effective. You saw classic give to the dive guy right up the middle, a fullback on that one, but he can go so many ways. Here's your classic wishbone attack right now.
2nd down and 7. There's the pitch. Josh Lyman. And look at that Orem defense converge on the ball. Lyman's going to get a couple of yards. Spencer Abney and a couple of his teammates there to help stop him.
What you got to do on the wishbone there, the quarterback's got to keep the ball a little longer. He pitched it right off the bat and left all the defenders looking right at his pitchman, Josh Lyman. Lyman had nowhere to go. Nobody had to cover Anderson because he'd already given up the ball.
3rd down, they need 5 now. And they move over to that left side of that field, the left side of that hash mark. Probably a little drier, certainly a lot drier than the middle of that field. Right up the middle, and several Tigers involved in that. And Jackson Peck is going to get, well, maybe 3 yards, but they're still going to be a couple of yards shy. And this is not the type of situation you want to gamble on, is it?
But that 3 and out is interesting because this is going to be the best field position of the team unless something really unusual happens here on this punt. Best field position of the day for either team. Orem should be getting the ball around midfield.
Jason Anderson will be kicking to Ryan Reed, number 33, and he is standing at the 45-yard line. It's 45-yard line. And the kick, boy, did you say midfield?
I do what I can, Dave.
You are the man. The ball rolled out of bounds at the 50.
You want to know what's going to happen next?
Yes, tell us, oh, almighty one. You know, the ball is right at the 50, and if they'll spot it on that right hash mark, but if they get it at all into the middle of the field, the biggest puddle of the stadium is right smack in the middle there. I want to see a tackle right there. I hope they run left.
That's really what you're looking for, isn't it?
Here comes Orem now, 1st and 10.
How'd you like to be?
Look at that.
How'd you like to be the tight end? I don't want to stand there. I want no part of
Well,
that.
in the pregame, when the teams were coming out with a coin toss, a couple of the players were trying to step around it. And I'm thinking, guys, you're not going to be able to avoid it sooner or later. Right up the middle goes Jared Harper for a couple of yards, and that big offensive line gives him a push. And again, number 77, Bill Edwards, along with a little help from his friends, in there for the stop.
You know, you always hear coaches say, well, you keep saying the same thing over and over. You always wonder if they're tuning you out or if it's really sinking in. But both coaches were talking about all the times the ball went on the ground last week in the semis, and they were going to, you got to hold the ball, you got to hold the ball. I mean, 2 games, it was amazing. 19 times a loose ball on the ground. 14 of them turned into lost fumbles. We've only seen the ball loose once today, and as we get deeper and deeper into the 2nd quarter on this field, it's pretty impressive. The guys on the ball are doing a good job protecting it.
The pitch is made just in time, and Adam Leifson gets outside. Look at him push down close to a first down to be about half a yard short. You know, what's funny is to hear Roger Dupay this week. They worked on holding on to the ball, fumble drills. But he had made the comment that where we've got to get our fumbles down to 4 or 5. You know, I mean, you hear, you know, most coaches, they don't even want fumbles, and he'd be happy just to do that.
Yeah, but when you're throwing pitches like this, I mean, it's a little risky. And you see even college teams that run it real well. The ball does go on the ground. It's just part of the offense. It'll happen. But, you know, look at the better footing they're getting on the sideline. It's actually better footing wide. You'd think running wide and cutting upfield, you might slip when you make that big cut, but it looks like there's better footing outside the hash marks right now.
Harper has the first down and a couple more.
I'm not really surprised we've got such a low-scoring game going. I mean, with the weather, you know it's a possibility, but when these teams met for the final, for the championship game in the final 3 years ago, it's 7-3 Skyline, and Skyline scored on a tipped long pass. So it's not too surprising we got a defensive struggle going here. These defenses have done an awfully good job this year. Average score in a Skyline game has been 28-14. Average win for Orem is 32-11. You got 2 pretty good defenses.
Burge will keep it, and he gets good yardage. And Burge down to the 32-yard line. Stevens and Zagoda in there to help out on the tackle.
Burge keeping himself, seeing the hole, getting upfield. I think he's got the still one of the longest runs of the game. He had that 15-yarder for a first down earlier today. And he is not, he does not have a lot of yards rushing. He is their 4th leading ground gainer in this offense. And sometimes you see quarterbacks. Anderson's really racked up the yards at quarterback for Skyline. He's run for more than 1,000 yards this year.
2nd down and 4. The tailback is Barlow, and Barlow busts through the middle. Got a nice hole opened up, and you know, we always talk about the skill players, but you hit on this earlier. They got a nice offensive line. We need to give the Hogs some credit throughout this game because they play well.
Well, you see the hole he was running through here this time. From the angle, you're not going to see it quite as well, but he had a pretty good hole, gets a good head of steam. And these guys, I mean, look at the shoulders are low, the legs keep moving. When he gets hit, just keep going, and then he gets down to avoid the forearm to the skull.
Mark Nielsen on the right side there gave him a few extra yards. 1st and 10. Orem trying to score. There's the pitch to Leifson. Leifson around the left side. You saw him kind of tap dance a little near the 20, kept his footing, and he's down to the 13-yard line. And the Tigers are threatening, and they're right in front of you there, Reese.
Yeah, great move by Leifson there. Like you say, tap dancing. He was looking at the turf. He actually intended to put his feet right where he could see the driest part of that turf, wanted to make that cut before anybody touched him, then cut it back inside.
Reese, we're really not seeing that much slipping outside, though,
no.
are we?
Well, they're not slipping that bad as they come around the end, but I'll tell you, they're playing very conservative too. They're not taking any chances. You notice the pitch is coming awfully quick. They're not making the pitch while the guy's trying to make his cut. They're making the pitch early, letting him get the ball, make sure he's got it, and then find the place to make the cut.
You're right about the early pitch right there. Last week we did see Anderson a couple times for Skyline hold the ball pretty long and wait to the last second, although you can create some pretty big plays doing that.
Harper again. Look at the push. Harper all the way down to the 5-yard line. And some of the guys coming up off that pile, Jared Porter, number 75, helped out.
I think what we're seeing on this drive, in addition to the push they're getting from their offensive line and the strong running, but we're seeing how important field position is. This is the first really good field position either team's had to launch a drive. Orem starting at midfield. Now when you add the crunching rushing attack, and they're averaging about 4.7 yards a carry now. But they started the drive at midfield. You know, they played that game, punting back and forth, picking up a few yards here, a few yards there. And when they got the good field position at midfield, they were able to launch this potential scoring drive.
1st and goal now. And again, they'll keep it on the ground, but Leifson is wrapped up and dropped by Jake Stevens. So he's going to lose a couple of yards here. Good defensive play. And I don't know if somebody missed a block, but Jake got in there in a hurry.
Yeah, Jake coming in from his linebacker position, just nobody picked him up at all. A great read by Jake, and he had the running back all to himself.
So it's 2nd down and goal. They're now 7 yards out. You know, also in the backfield, this is Michael Tanner. He's the fine linebacker, and now he's carrying the ball. And Tanner all the way down to the 2-yard line. And Tanner, the young man who had the big interception last week, showing some of his offensive moves.
He ran through some guys there. It looked as that play was developing that he was not going to get a whole lot. Checking their stats, you know, I don't see him with a carry. He's not listed among their rushing leaders. I don't see him with 1 carry all year. It's possible he's not on the stats, but they've got about 14, 15 different guys who carried the ball. He might have carried all year, but look at him. He knows what he's doing, and that last hit saved the touchdown. Good pop.
You know how this story could go. He gets the interception last week, and he says, all right, come on, coach. I've been doing it for you all year. Let me carry the ball on offense. It's the championship game. It's my last game. It's now 3rd down and goal. Orem trying to score. Harper, and the big push at the offensive line is not enough as Skyline holds its ground.
It'll be interesting to see what Orem does here. The 2nd quarter has been their most productive quarter of the year. They've scored 123 second quarter points. It is their most productive quarter, game in and game out. 99 points in the 1st quarter is their next best performance. You look at a team, I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot of points. 222 points in the 1st half this year, but Skyline is shutting them out here.
Well, Paul Clark's going to take a timeout because they're going to think about going for it here, and we will take a timeout as well. We'll come back as Orem is trying to get into the end zone.
Your palms sweat, your heart pounds, your pulse is racing. Is this how you feel when you're behind the wheel?
This is really annoying.
2 News put heart monitors on Wasatch Front commuters to see how stressed they get. Don't miss the drive time stress test Sunday on 2 News at 10.
Hey, cookies. Say, you know, I think our neighbor might like one too. Yeah? Well,
Here you go.
Thank you.
terrific.
Got milk?
Hungry children in Utah need your help
This season, team up with us.
to help feed Utah families.
In the true spirit of giving.
Bring your canned goods to Channel 2, Granite Furniture, or the Utah Food Bank. Volunteers will take your donations where they're needed most.
When we all give a little,
We'll make a big difference. Together,
we'll be back and hungry for the holidays.
Sponsored by Granite Furniture, Utah's favorite home team since 1910.
hey, deliver these, will ya?
Fred Meyer announces an exciting new way to save on your food shopping. Double coupons that double the value of your manufacturer's coupons. Here's how it works. Clip the double coupons from the Fred Meyer ad in Sunday's paper, combine them with any manufacturer's coupon, and we'll double the value, up to 50 cents. Now you have 2 ways to save on your Thanksgiving meal, with lower shelf prices and new double coupons.
You'll find it at Fred Meyer.
Ron Bird, Mary Nichols, Sterling Polson. The team to watch on 2 News at noon, weekdays.
Orem Tigers trying to break this scoreless battle here in the state 5A football championship. 3.5 to go. In the first half. Touchdown. The Tigers are in. It's Jared Harper.
Fourth down, they took the timeout, nothing fancy. Harper right behind that big offensive line. The other 2 blockers throwing, the other 2 backs throwing big blocks, and he is in. That Orem bench absolutely erupted, and there's still guys running down there screaming and just going nuts.
Well, on a day like this, a touchdown may be about all you need. Now they're in this spread formation. They used to call it the duck to go for 2, and that's trouble. Intercepted in the end zone by Dave Grant. To give him another interception, as that play was not developing the way Orem needed it to.
I'm surprised they did that. Unless they know they've got a problem in their kicking game, but if you can kick an extra point, Skyline has missed 17 of 37 extra points this year. Even if Skyline comes down and gets a touchdown, they're no lock to kick the extra point and tie the game up. I'm a little surprised Orem didn't take one. Could have been enough.
Reese, you were right in front of that 2-point conversion, and it was disastrous from the snap.
Yeah, they had nothing going there at all. Skyline defensed it perfectly. I don't know what Skyline saw or what they have seen before, but they knew exactly what was going to happen there. On the touchdown, now your boy Michael Tanner, who was in on every play on that series, was the leading blocker. He was the guy that punched open the hole to let Jared Tanner get through for the touchdown.
Well, Reese, he hasn't been playing offense this year, though. I mean, he hasn't carried the ball.
I've only seen 2 games, and I don't recall him playing. I can go ask.
I'll bet you, you go ask him, I'll bet you he talked the coach into letting him do a little bit of that for his final game here at Orem. Scoring drive went 11 plays, 50 yards, and ended with that Harper 1-yard run as he got a lot of help from that offensive line.
16 different guys had carried the ball for Orem in their first 12 games, and Tanner was not one of them.
Granite kickoff, and Skyline will now try to answer. Josh Lyman, and Lyman a nice return up to the 35-yard line before Tanner is there to knock him down. So, yeah, you point out 16 guys have carried the ball here. Tanner's not one of them, and now all of a sudden he comes in here and gets a nice little carry, and he's in on, as Reese said, just about every play of that series.
Well, that was an important carry, too, after the loss on first down. They were in a little tough situation there, and he got him down to the 1-yard line to set up the score. That's another good kickoff return for Skyline. They had their best field position of the day when they got that opening kickoff out. They get another good return here. They're out at the 37. And remember, Orem got the game's only touchdown because they took over at midfield, had the short field to work with. Now Skyline's got pretty good field position.
Oh, nice fake. Nice fake by Anderson, who goes around the left side, gets a stiff arm, and he's going to end up picking up. They'll spot it. Oh, they gave him 9 yards, so very close to a first down.
And he'll stay over and bring in the next call from Dupay. He ran out of bounds about 2 yards away from him. That was all ball handling. That was magic. He had, watch this replay. The Orem guys were biting. They were in handoff all the way. Takes it back. Whoops, see ya, bye-bye. He is outside. Containment is gone in a hurry.
Great ball fake there. Second down and just 1. You know, I've always thought these 2nd and 1s are opportunities to do something tricky, maybe throw the ball down, or just hand it to Jackson Peck and go up the middle for 4.
I don't know how much trickery you can wedge into one half. They've already thrown a halfback option pass for 46 yards.
It's the state football championship.
Well, you know, the thing is that with all this running between the tackles we're seeing on this muddy field, you got to wonder how many times Roger Dupay would roll the dice. He already has once. But the play that you would think would really work, the flea flicker. I mean, you hand off, the guy starts in the line, he stops, he pitches back to the quarterback. On the other hand, if you're in the Orem defensive backfield, you know, how many times are you going to sell out? I mean, you got burned once.
Exactly. 1st and 10. Anderson takes the right side. Looked like he wanted to pitch it, but Lyman was actually in front of him, so he was run down by Rodney Wilkerson. I mean, that would have been a forward lateral. His tailback got ahead of him.
That was probably a good idea that he held onto it there, because he was just about to get hit too. And few things are as dangerous as getting popped just as you're letting the ball go. Also, he's carrying the ball a little awkwardly here. He tucks it away in his inside arm, where it's more likely to get stripped, more likely to get a fumble, and that was just awkward. Holding the ball was definitely the best move. You can see it's in the inside arm there. That's where it can get punched away, can get hit by a helmet. Finally, he switches it out, but
Lyman was actually moving up to try to help get him a block.
Well, I think when he saw him tuck the ball away, he figured he's not going to get a pitch, and he needs a block. So,
2nd and 10. Anderson to throw.
Good protection.
Fires downfield. This could be intercepted, and it is. The ball is picked off at the 12-yard line by John Barlow. And we talked about turnovers in this one. Reese, right in front of you. Barlow ran right past you, but this is a costly one.
Well, there were 3 men, 3 defenders right there. The ball was way overthrown. No way the intended receiver could get to it. Barlow right there to pick it off. And boy, did he pick his way back upfield for a nice return.
Jackson Peck was the intended target, and as Reese pointed out, David, there's 3. Well, you can see right there, that was a long shot to get it into Peck.
Well, the interception hurt, but it was the return that really hurt to change the field possession. If it had just been intercepted and he'd run out of bounds down there, it would have been like a punt. You would have had him backed up. But the 21-yard interception return gets Orem back out to the 35 and in pretty good shape.
Whoops. You saw Leeson. The wheels went out from underneath him right there. 1:50 to go here in this first half, and you know Orem would love to get another score, but it's just so tough to get a big play, and they've got to go 65 yards.
They've got guys who've broken big plays, though. We already mentioned Jared Harper has a 99-yard touchdown run.
Got 2 of them.
Oh, nice footing out there. Leifson has a 56-yard touchdown run. Barlow has an 81-yard touchdown run. Burge has a 39-yard touchdown run. Joel Clark, another quarterback, has a 64-yard run. These guys have broken off big running plays.
Burge turned, and it looked like nobody was there to take the fake.
He thought they were going right. Yeah. Everybody else was thinking they were going left.
Whoops. Andrew Selko.
Watch.
Stop.
Fullback goes left. He turns, expecting the fullback to be on the right to hand it to him. And because both backs went left, my guess is that was Burge's mistake. Also his body language when he got up. I think he realizes that one was on me.
Well, the clock has stopped then now with 1:14 to go as we have a timeout, and Paul Clark wants to talk to his troops about it. 7-year coach here at Orem. 6-0 the score, of course, because they tried a 2-point conversion in that spread formation, which did not work. It'll be interesting to see if that comes back to haunt them at all. Right now, Orem leading 6-0, and on a day like this, boy, every point, no matter how few, means an awful lot. It's kind of reminiscent of the 7-3 championship game we talked about earlier. Look at the field.
That game was drier. That was at Rice Stadium 3 years ago. It was dry, but it was a night game. It was a primetime game. It kicked off at 7 o'clock, and it was bitter cold that night. A little bit of a wind. You got a lot of wind down on the field, Reese?
No wind at all. In fact, the rain has lightened up quite a bit during the second quarter here. It's actually fairly comfortable right now. Of course, field conditions are terrible. You know, this is the 4th time that Orem and Skyline have met for the state championship. Great traditions dating all the way back to the first meeting in 1970.
You might see a little rain on some of the camera lenses as well. Don't adjust your television set. They'll try to keep them as clean as they can. A quick pop right up the middle.
Well, Reese mentioned this is the 4th time these schools have met for the title. They've never played in the regular season. It's their 7th game, and I don't think the cameramen have been colder in any of the previous 6 games.
It is chilly.
But they've all been playoff games. They've met in the final 3 times. They've met in the semis twice. They've met in the quarters once. And every time the team that won the game went on to win the championship.
Now, this is the rubber match, too. They're 3-3 coming into this one.
In addition, we've mentioned the 93 championship game when they played. In 94, they met in the semifinals, and Orem won that game, got revenge for their championship loss the year before. Orem won 28-11 in the semis in 94.
Skyline with an outstanding crop of assistant coaches, all former great athletes. Steve Marshall, Steve Marlowe, Larry Eldrocker, the defensive coach who played back for the Utes. But Steve Marlowe was the fullback on Skyline's 1970 championship team when they beat Orem. And interestingly enough, I think I covered all 4 of those Orem Skyline championship games.
I was about to ask, were you there?
I was there.
Reese, you are the high school championship guru.
Well, this is the first game since, what, 1972. The title has not been decided at Rice Stadium. I remember that game, Gifford Nielsen at Provo against Kearns.
Giff Nielsen. Back in 72, Gunter's punt is away, all the way down to the big kick. Segota grabbed it at his 20 and then went another 4 or 5 yards back. Just on his momentum, brings it up to the 29-yard line. So there's 55 seconds to go here. What do you try to do now? Because you don't want to make any glaring mistakes, but boy, you'd love to get something on the board.
But you can almost, run your offense and see what happens. I've seen Skyline break similar plays in similar situations. I was at the Skyline Timpview game earlier this year. If you're on defense, you're thinking 55 seconds left. They run the option. If you let down even a notch, Skyline can break the big play. And in that game against Timpview, which was very close, right before the half, Skyline got an interception, and then in the next play, Anderson went 67 yards for a touchdown, and it was in the final minute of the half.
Anderson, he'll keep it, got a big hole on the right side, and Anderson, just as you point out, comes up with a big play, and once again, the man has spoken.
If I could do this with the stock market, it'd be really impressive. But sadly,
if you could do this with the stock market, you wouldn't be sitting next to me right now.
Good call. You can see Anderson getting outside. Nobody's got him. He just turns upfield, puts the ball away. Thought about the straight arm, didn't do it, shed the first guy, but he gets out of bounds, 47 seconds, and Skyline's got one more timeout to work with here. And they're down, what? They're down inside the 44, about the 43 now.
Yep. Anderson, one of those, actually lives in another school district, but wants to play for Skyline, and very rich football tradition. This time they'll give it up right up the middle and get maybe 2 yards.
About a third of the Skyline student body now lives outside the school boundaries. Not just their football team or their athletic teams, but a third of the entire student body. That's an area, one of the reasons they use open enrollment is so they can keep schools built in areas where the population's aged a bit, the kids have already graduated, and they can get kids moved in there. Well, it's not surprising that Anderson broke that big run. We mentioned he's gained 1,076 yards on the year coming into the game. He is Skyline's leading rusher. Peck's got 762 yards, Lyman 760 yards rushing. So Anderson is the big gun, and photographers are just fascinated with those muddy foot shots.
We were told at the beginning of the year, we saw Skyline's opening game. They opened against Fremont, coincidentally the same team they beat for the state championship last year. They opened at Fremont to begin the season this year. We were told that Anderson may just be the best passing quarterback Skyline's ever had. Well, he came out throwing in the first half of that game, and he threw very well, but he didn't have anybody that could catch his passes. They came out in the second half, and Anderson just kept the ball and started running, and he hasn't stopped running since, and that has been really the bread and butter of the Skyline offense, has been Anderson on the ground.
I remember that game, and there were a lot, as you point out, Reese, a lot of drop passes in the first half of that game. 37 seconds to go now. And Anderson lined up in the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. Fires downfield, and his receiver actually fell down. The pass was headed out of bounds anyway. John Barlow was covering Colin Terry. Nice pass, though. I mean, he had a lot on it.
It isn't how they score, though. They've only thrown 4 touchdown passes all year. Although Anderson's been very effective, he's only thrown 2 interceptions all year. It's just, they're not throwing a lot. They are just pounding away with the run. They've been effective with it. They've only got 1 loss all year. That was to Highland in the regular season finale, and even that was you were at that game, Reese. That was double overtime.
That was a phenomenal game. 2 great quarterbacks that did not want to lose. That was just great gutty football.
32 seconds to go in the half. 3rd down and 7. Anderson again looking to throw. Nice pass over the middle, but just barely beyond the fingertips of Derek Maxfield. Looked very close. Maybe a dry ball would have been a little more catchable.
And on a warmer day, I mean, the fingers get numb. The ball is cold, and it is heavy. And it is tough to make those fingertip grabs on a day like today. It's the first thing, great protection. And pass protection is something you got to work on, and teams that are running an option don't always do it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right off the end of his fingertips. Yeah. There's something on that ball, too.
Definitely a catchable ball.
It was.
Tough luck there.
It was a good throw. It was a really strong throw, yeah.
Well, there's no question, as Reese pointed out, and as we've seen, kid's got a good arm. 4th down and 7. Anderson sets up a screen. They're going to have a 1st down here with Jackson Peck. They're going to need to stop the clock. The clock will stop long enough for them to move the chains. It reads 20 seconds now.
They don't have any timeout, so they're going to have to spike the ball here. And Dupay came off the sideline. He was waving him forward, and now he's throwing his hand to the ground saying, just spike it into the ground. This clock is still stopped at 20, though, because the chains aren't quite set.
There's the spike. 4 seconds is what it cost them there to get that done.
But what we come back to here is that Skyline does not had a very effective kicking game this year. Only 3 of 6 on field goal attempts this season. And the long is a 31-yarder. So with the ball now down at the 28, you're looking at a 45-yard attempt if you go to the field goal. So they have got to pick up some yardage, and they're going to try and throw it into the end zone.
And look what you're sitting the ball on, too.
Yeah.
You know,
if they can get inside the 20, the ground, it looks a lot greener from up here. We can see mud between the 20s, between the hash marks. The field looks a little better if they pick up another 10 yards.
15 seconds now is what the clock reads. They should have a couple of shots downfield. There's one again off the fingertips once again of Derek Maxfield, who's having a little trouble hanging onto the ball. And Reese, as you pointed out, passing hasn't been the problem, it's catching.
Well, look at this replay. We talked earlier when Orem was throwing the ball, the high, hard pass, how he can get tipped off a guy's hands. And the tip drill, it's up for grabs. But watch when this ball goes up in the air, nobody can cut and get to it. It's too slick. Frustrating. Just kick it out of there. On a dry field, you might have been able to plant and dive and get to that ball and maybe use your skills that you learned in the tip drill and get the interception.
Anderson took a lot off of that one, too. That wasn't whistled in there. He tried to make that a little more catchable, still off the fingertips.
3rd down now, 10 seconds to go. Anderson in a little bit of trouble, gets out of bounds with 3 seconds. So this will be their last shot.
Great play. I love to see run at a time like this. They're going to have 3 seconds, 1 chance to throw it into the end zone on 4th down. Unless, you know what, they're going to send the team out and kick a field goal.
Yep.
That was an old play out of the 49er playbook, and we'll discuss it at another time, Dave. This will be the longest field goal attempt of the year for Skyline. 43-yarder. They haven't tried anything over 40 yards all season.
Mark McGill.
I think Orem's looking for a fake. He got 5 guys back.
And that's not going to get it.
He chopped his steps. He was worried about his footing and his plant foot.
So that's how the half will end. Orem holds the Eagles, and the Tigers hold the lead. 6-0 is our score here at the State 5A Football Championships at Wildcat Stadium in Ogden.
More movies. More music.
Media play.
More books. More
Media play.
More
Media play.
More software. Less price every day. Media play.
Media play.
More choice, less price.
Can we order room service?
For the price of a Toyota RAV4, fully loaded, you could get a Kia Sportage, ridiculously loaded. With 4 doors and 130 horses, selling for around $3,000 less than a RAV4. There's no end to the fun you can have.
Honey, there's a squirrel in the hot tub.
Get up to $1,000 back on a new Sportage.
Lincoln Continental, a V8 luxury sedan that has all the right stuff. Lincoln Mark 8, a 280 horsepower luxury coupe that takes no prisoners. And Lincoln Town Car, a luxury legend that is recognized as an American classic. Every one of these Lincolns can now be reached at the following number. Exclusively at your Lincoln dealer.
Here's your 1996 academic all-state team. Get this. These kids with an average 3.99 GPA. Will Green of Roy, Toby Christensen of American Fork, Jeff Farr of Alta, Nathan Godfrey of Bonneville, Jaron Coombs of Orem, Nate Faulkner of Cottonwood, Garrett Wilson of Alta, Wayne Davis of Clearfield, Chris Anderson of Hunter, and Brady Reeves of Weaver, the academic all-state team for Class 5A. Congratulations, guys. And we'll be back right after this.
No dogs, no stoplights, no rain. Just getting fit, staying fit, losing the fat. Yeah, you can get fit with this. Into running, walking, you will reach your goal. You cannot stop. This is why. Keeps you moving. Call it motivation. Want it higher, harder, steeper? You will get there. You won't pound your knees, your ankles, your joints. This tells you where you are, how far you'll go, and what you'll attain. So when you get there, it gets out of your way. Space Saver Thin Line from Proform. Hey, this isn't much. This is smart.
The new Proform Space Saver treadmill, more compact than ever. Call for a 30-day in-home trial.
High School Activities Association. The game of life begins here.
Thomas Travel is a proud supporter of Utah high schools. Serving Utah for over 46 years, Thomas Travel specializes in tours and cruises for the business and leisure traveler.
This home improvement tip brought to you by Economy Builder Supply. Have you ever wondered how professionals get those even cuts on crown molding?
Use a miter saw. We're using the DeWalt DW705 compound miter saw. Boy, it makes the job easy.
Just set the angle in the head.
That's the motor in the blade.
At a 45-degree angle.
Then lay the molding flat and tight against the fence.
Make sure you have your safety glasses on.
Start the blade away from the crown molding so you don't splinter it, and bring her on down.
Boy, that's a great fit. This home improvement tip brought to you by DeWalt Power Tools and Economy Builder Supply. We cut prices, not quality.
Welcome back to Wildcat Stadium. 6-0 our score at halftime. Orem on a touchdown and a missed two-point conversion. Talk a little bit about why they win that. You talk to the coaches at halftime. Look at the fans. They're not in it. It's championship time. What is that?
It's something that gets them on TV, Dave. That's the important thing. Who cares what it is?
Here's your halftime stats. Total yards are even, but then a lot of things different as you look up and down both sides of the column.
Well, Orem's got the advantage in rushing yardage with their big offensive line. They've outgained Skyline by 40 yards on the ground. Skyline had one big pass play on halfback option pass, but it didn't lead to any points, so the passing yard's not that important. Turnover's not too important either. Skyline had the one turnover, but it did not lead to any Orem points. Orem dominating time of possession with that rushing yardage.
We were talking with the coaches who are actually right next door to us here about the 6 points possibly being enough, and they said, hey, you never know on a day like this. We'll be back with the second half. It's Orem against Skyline with the Tigers hanging on to a 6-0 lead.
Hungry children in Utah need your help
This season, team up with us
to help feed Utah families.
in the true spirit of giving.
Bring your canned goods to Channel 2, Granite Furniture, or the Utah Food Bank. Volunteers will take your donations where they're needed most.
When we all give a little,
We'll make a big difference. Together,
we'll be bagging hungry for the holidays.
Sponsored by Granite Furniture, Utah's favorite home team since 1910.
hey, deliver these, will ya?
See your Utah Jeep and Eagle dealer, where you can always expect the best.
For me, life is an adventure. Something new around every corner, but not for my dad. He says he knows what to expect just about every day of the year. Heartburn.
If you suffer from frequent, severe heartburn, you may be qualified to participate in a research study of a heartburn medication. You may qualify if you are over 18 and experience almost daily severe heartburn. Qualified volunteers may be paid. 1-800-HEARTBURN.
Grab the keys to a Mercury Sable and you won't let go. It's the roomiest Sable model ever, so there's a place for 5 or 6. Make space for whatever you like with the split-fold rear seat. And if you want even more room, choose a Mercury Sable wagon for the same low price. Mercury Sable, at your Mercury dealer now.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury now.
Welcome back. We're ready for the second half now of the state 5A football championship. Familiar twosome of the Orem Tigers against the Skyline Eagles in the first half. Orem with that touchdown and then the 2-point conversion. We'll talk a little bit about that because you and Reese actually talked to coaches at halftime to discuss why they did that, what happened, and where they're headed.
Dave, the rain has stopped down on the field. The field is a mess, but the rain has stopped. There's no wind. It's going to be a little more comfortable for the second half.
You know what, Reese?
Yo.
We've been comfortable the entire game.
Me too, but then I dress for it.
This kickoff sponsored by Granite Furniture and Mark McGill, set to begin the second half. Orem won the toss and deferred, so they get the ball first here in the second half. And down at the 7-yard line, Ryan Reed keeps his feet, and a nice tackle up at the 24-yard line as Reed is upended. Due to time constraints, we move ahead now in our coverage of the state 5A football championship. It's Lyman again, and Lyman will hop over the first set of linemen and pick up a couple. Jackson Linford is there, number 61, the 225-pound senior. A couple of fresh linemen coming in for Orem. And defensively now, Orem has got to start to buckle things up. They've kind of let Skyline pretty much run roughshod on them on this drive.
Yeah, Skyline's been able to mix it up a little more than they did in the first half when it was raining. They didn't go outside very often. They get some success going outside a couple of plays. That strings Orem's defense out. They got to be thinking about that now, and that's opened up the middle a little bit. But Skyline's been down before, here before in this game and didn't score. We'll see what they can do this time.
But first, they need the first down, and they're going to get it and more. Lyman tries the right side. Touchdown, Eagles. So the Eagles are on the scoreboard, and they're not going for 2.
Here's the crucial point after. Eagles 20 of 37 on the year on PATs.
And Mark McGill got it. Have you ever seen so much celebration for a point after? Now the Skyline sideline and the fans up there are having a good time now. The Eagles have taken the lead.
The mystery of the blinking rings. And now, my finest illusion. Voila! Empty! Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, no, please don't get up. You're too kind. Thank you. It's not necessary for you to...
Got milk?
Ow!
Hungry children in Utah need your help
This season, team up with us
to help feed Utah families.
in the true spirit of giving.
Bring your canned goods to Channel 2, Granite Furniture, or the Utah Food Bank. Volunteers will take your donations where they're needed most.
When we all give a little,
We'll make a big difference. Together,
we'll be bagging hungry for the holidays.
Sponsored by Granite Furniture, Utah's favorite home team since 1910.
hey, deliver these, will ya?
Now that cold weather set in, come into Intermountain Farmers for warmer work clothing. As if your job keeps you outside during the winter months, you know how cold it can get. Dressing properly can be critical. So whether your outdoor activities are for work or for fun, come see our stylish new jackets and workable insulated coveralls. Designed to be convenient and easy to put on as well as comfortable to work in. IFA has the cold weather apparel you need at a price you can afford.
We're still serving your needs at home and on the farm. We're IFA.
Back at the state high school football championships for the 5A, a very impressive drive, Reese and David. Skyline going The distance, very nice, 63 yards in 9 plays, and it seemed like just about every play worked. There were only a couple that were shut down.
The all-important point after.
Yep.
And that has been a real problem. Skyline missed their first point after in the semifinal game last week. They got a 2-point conversion to make up for it, but they've had problems there, but they got it here, and they were up 7-6 with 6:18 to go. And the last time these guys met in the state championship game, 93, it was Skyline 7-3. We could be all done with the scoring. We could see some more, but we could be all done.
Mark McGill is the kicker. He was just yelling at all his teammates as they were lining up for this kickoff, really trying to get it pumped up. He's on fire right now. The Granite kickoff is away. Grabbed at the 17-yard line. Oh, and a nice return coming. And Orem will get up to the 27-yard line. Jared Rubino, who doesn't normally return kickoffs, or excuse me, did I call him Rubino or Jared Robbins?
Yeah, it's a lovely day. Take off your shirt and get on TV.
Oh, to be in high school again. So Orem comes out now, 1st and 10. Skyline on that first drive of the second half delivered. And now the Tigers have to try and answer. Austin Burge throwing to a wide open Brad Watts. And Watts, a great play. There is absolutely nobody covered Watts. He's all the way down to the 41-yard line. Big pickup for Orem.
Watts, I was watching him. He turned his man inside and then broke back outside, had him spinning around doing 360s and got himself wide open.
40 yards. That's a big play.
He sold him. He started inside, turned him around, bent him back outside, and got wide open.
You know, you spend so much of the day working on the run, and sometimes those things will just open up out of nowhere, and it certainly paid off for the Tigers right there. 1st and 10 at the 40. Again, Burge looking to throw.
He was throwing that away. He just whistled that thing into the ground. He was throwing that away. And that is exactly what Skyline coaches are saying. Hey, our guys were there. He didn't have a receiver there.
Well, he threw it right at Isaac Bills, and as you said, there was no Orem wide receiver anywhere near the play, but at any rate, they'll keep the ball 2nd and 10.
Burge 2 of 4 for 45 yards. Orem throwing a little less than usual. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast, they usually throw about 10 passes a game and average about 100 yards a game through the air.
We'll go back to the ground game. And John Barlow dives ahead for about a 5-yard pickup. Of course, the team of the 4 that you see today that likes to throw the most, Timpview, the team you saw earlier this morning in the 4A championship game.
Tough to throw the ball in this weather, though. This is really tough weather. And the other thing is, Orem had the ball for so long in the first half. They had the time of possession. Their big offensive line, which has got 15 to 20 to 25 pounds a man along the line, over most of the top 5A teams, not just Skyline. It is a big offensive line. They've been banging on Skyline. You got to keep running the ball and give your offensive lineman a chance to keep wearing Skyline down.
Could be
now Skyline says they got a fumble.
There's
and
also
now got
a flag.
And a very late flag. It hit the ground after the play was over. But you got to give the Orem offensive lineman a chance to wear Skyline down, and now the officials are saying no fumble, the ball was down. But you got to give Orem a chance to keep wearing him down, and eventually you have a chance to break a big play possibly. See if we can see when the ball came loose here. Handoff is clean. He has it tucked away.
Boy, you didn't see it come loose at all until he was down.
You could hardly tell, though, in that big pile of people. Well, it's 4th and 4, and you could punt and try to go coffin corner and play for field position, but it looks like Orem's going to go for it. 4th and 4 at 35.
The Tigers need to get just inside the 30-yard line. Harper and Barlow behind Austin Burge. Burge to the air. Pump fakes, and he's throwing for the end zone. Just beyond the fingertips of his wide receiver, and that would have been 6 if there had been just a little bit less on that one. Kukahio had...
He was behind everybody. You can see he has a step. He is gone. And it was over. It looked like a little over his outside shoulder instead of inside. If it had been inside, he might have been able to run to it. But when it comes over the top of your head, your outside shoulder is tough to correct, especially on this field.
Well, now Skyline comes out. We'll see how they're able to respond to this after holding on 4th down. Jason Anderson brings out his team at the 35-yard line, leading by a point at 7-6. And they'll keep it on the ground, and a big hole opens up for Jackson Peck. And Peck crosses midfield. Look at Peck come out of there waving his arms. And that's going to bring us the Eagle Hardware and Garden power play.
Well, we've talked about the Orem offensive line wearing people down, but it's Skyline's running game that's getting more effective as the game wears along. It wasn't just that last drive. They get the touchdown on that last drive, they come right back, and boom, they're across midfield.
Anderson keeps it. He's got nowhere to go, nowhere to pitch, and he is dropped by Steve Schallenberger. And that play just had nowhere to go at all. Reese, you were right in front of that one.
They tried to use the play before to set that one up. They went to Peck up the middle. Then they come back with a fake to Peck this time, hoping to suck everybody in. Jason goes out pretty much on his own, but the defender right there to shut that one down. Again, Orem very disciplined. They know how to play this option. They know to stay home and play their lanes.
Actually a loss on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 13 now for Jason Anderson and the Skyline Eagles, the defending state champions, trying to win back-to-back titles. It's the last team to win back-to-back titles in the top class was
Skyline
Eagles.
1976 and 77, they went back-to-back, and nobody has done it since.
And I know Reese Stein was at both of those games.
Well, I believe they beat Orem, what, in the 76 game?
And who was the quarterback?
It wasn't Scott Robbins or Steve Marshall.
Okay. See, Reese, you set a standard now. I'm going to start asking you all kinds of things like this.
I hate to tell you, Reese, Skyline beat Orem in the 1975, 70, and then they beat him in the 79 quarters.
Yeah.
They didn't play in 76 and 77 playoffs.
2nd down and 18.
I feel betrayed. He didn't know that.
And it's a good throw. You can only put so much pressure on him. Nothing doing. Absolutely nothing doing. And Orem, they are complaining there really wasn't anyone there.
There wasn't anyone there. That's the same complaint that Skyline just had about Orem, but the rest didn't call either one of them. He threw it to an enormous patch of brown and green.
More brown than green. Well, that's going to be a 3rd and 18.
I think the real good news here at Weber State is that the Wildcats are done with their home games. They do not have to play another game on this field. And that is one of the reasons we're up here. The University of Utah was worried about their field with the BYU-Utah game being played the day after the high school title.
Well, and rightly so. They've never had that problem before when they had the artificial turf, but now you've got to be careful with that field. 3rd and 18. They'll keep it on the ground. Peck's going to try to get it back, and he's on his way. Stopped 6 yards shy by Michael Tanner.
But he did pick up about 10 or 11 on the play, picked up a little key field position, and now Skyline can try and punt it, pooch it down inside the 10-yard line. It's not going to keep the drive alive, but on a day like this, field position is everything. These are 10 crucial yards Skyline's picking up here. They had to trap Orem inside the 20, maybe inside the 10. One of the differences today is Skyline's used 2 return men and not let any of the punts roll. Orem only has 1 guy back, and they have had a couple punts, but we got a fake.
And it's Grant, the backup quarterback, and he will not get it. Nice looking fake as they snap it through him, but guess who's there? That's right, Tanner. He saved the game for him last week, and he just stopped the fake punt right there.
Tanner killed Highland's last drive last week with the interception, and now he's giving him a chance here late in the 3rd quarter, down by a point.
School Activities Association. The game of life begins here.
Thomas Travel is a proud supporter of Utah high schools. Serving Utah for over 46 years, Thomas Travel specializes in tours and cruises for the business and leisure traveler.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back now. Skyline leading by a point, and after the fake punt is thwarted, Orem comes back out on offense. Austin Burge leading the attack at quarterback for the Tigers. And Burge is going to go to the air. And the lefty firing out, and it's complete to Ryan Reed. And again, they started their last drive with a big pass play on the left side for good yardage.
And it was the same pattern. Once again, go down about 6 yards, turn it inside. It looks like a slant, which they've thrown a few times today. Cornerback comes up, you turn him around, take off back outside, first down. You're across midfield, and you're threatening again.
But you know, in Orem's first series, they came out and played smash mouth as they did in the first half, just running it up the middle and got nowhere. Their second two drives, they've gone to the air and found a lot more success. But again, the weather's improved. They're used to the field a little bit, and it's not raining. It's plenty warm. It's not cold down here at all, so it's a little more conducive for passing.
Eagle hardware and garden power play. Everybody's moving, but officials aren't going to stop that. And right up the middle goes Jared Harper, and now they'll throw the flag.
Late flag, but I think that will come back. Well, you know, the interesting thing about throwing on a day like this, the wind always hurts the passing game, and it's tough to throw and catch a wet ball, but on a muddy field, the defensive backs are at a huge disadvantage.
We head to the final period, and Orem trailing by a point, but they have the ball, and they are threatening.
Grab the keys to a Mercury Sable, and you won't let go. It's the roomiest Sable model ever, so there's a place for 5 or 6. Make space for whatever you like with the split-fold rear seat. And if you want even more room, choose a Mercury Sable wagon for the same low price. Mercury Sable, at your Mercury dealer now.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury now.
Hey, cookies. Say, you know, I think our neighbor might like one, too. Yeah? Well,
Here you go.
Thank you. Terrific.
Got milk?
Hungry children in Utah need your help
This season, team up with us.
to help feed Utah families.
In the true spirit of giving.
Bring your canned goods to Channel 2, Granite Furniture, or the Utah Food Bank. Volunteers will take your donations where they're needed most.
When we all give a little,
We'll make a big difference. Together,
we'll be bagging hungry for the holidays.
Sponsored by Granite Furniture, Utah's favorite home team since 1910.
hey, deliver these, will ya?
And we move to the final period here. The 5A football championships. Orem has the football, trailing by a point, and immediately hit at the line Jared Harper on 2nd down and 6. He didn't get much there.
It's going to be 3rd and 5, and this is going to set up an interesting situation here. Orem, when they call this play, has got to decide right now if they got, is this 4-down territory? If they got 2 plays to pick this up, or are they going to kick their field goal? We've talked about Skyline's kicking game. Orem very good on extra points. Gunter 42 of 46, but he's only made 4 of 7 field goal attempts as long as a 36-yarder. They'd be looking at about a 37-yarder where they are right now. And whether they plan to kick a field goal down 7-6 or not will probably affect what play they call here.
Burge to the air. He's throwing to the corner. And Brad Watts was looking outside. The pass came inside, and he couldn't make the correction in time.
And Orem is going to go for the field goal here. This looks like it'll probably be their longest attempt of the year, 37-yarder. You can see as he breaks outside, just need to lead him a little more. You're right, it was on his inside shoulder. Tries to spin around and find it. Just couldn't see it in time. It was catchable. It was close, but
You know, it's funny to see Jeremy Gunter out there punting. He's a 6'5", 225-pound defensive lineman, and he's the kicker and the punter.
He's got the wind working with him. He'll be kicking from his right to left, and that's the way the wind's blowing. Not blowing that hard. Hard enough, though. It's wide to the windward side.
So the kick is no good, and Reese, you were right in front of that, and he just kind of drilled down. It's tough to get footing on
well,
this field.
I think it was a footing problem. You've seen the punters all day be very footsy when they take the kick, and he had to do the same thing there. He just wasn't able to put a lot of his body into it, and just kind of wobbled that one, and it was wide about 2 feet downwind.
Well, we've seen 2 field goal attempts today, one by each team. And both of them have been low knuckling line drives. You just can't get under and get them up.
Back to live action now. Here comes Skyline, and Jason Anderson cuts back inside. And Anderson, good yardage, picks up the first down and another 5. Give him 15 yards on that run before Rodney Wilkerson is there to help bring him down.
Skyline has run the ball much more effectively in the second half than in the first. The first half they had less than 70 yards rushing, and they have really got it going here with 2 good drives. They had the touchdown drive coming out of the locker room in the third quarter, and then they had another drive which ended with the fake punt attempt down at the Orem 40-yard line. Skyline's run for about 100 yards here in the second half. They got 162 in the game.
Christopherson gets a couple. Jackson Linford among the linemen for Orem to help stop him. We'll give him about 3 yards there. Those are usually the plays you run. You know, you hope to bust one open, but usually the plays you run to keep them honest, set up other things. 10.5 to play here. The state 5A football championship between 2 foes who are very familiar to being in this position. And right now, Skyline hanging on to a 1.7-6 lead. Again, right up the middle. Jackson Peck. Actually ended up going to the left side and picking up a couple of yards.
Well, as this game winds down, we've got about 10:08 to go now in the game. A 1-point game, 7-6. It's interesting to look and see who's been in close games, who's had to perform under pressure this year. Orem's played 3 games decided by a touchdown or less. They lost the first 2 to Timpview in the opener, 3-point loss to Brighton that cost them the region championship, but their semifinal game was a 1-touchdown game last week. They won 21-14. Orem's been in 3 close games, and they have won all 3 of them. They have a 3-point victory at Davis. Excuse me, they lost in the double overtime game to Highland, and then they had the 5-point win in the quarterfinals against Mountain View. So
that's
they're 2-1 in close games. That's Skyline, yeah. Skyline over Mountain View.
Timpview, you know, we talked to Timpview coaches this week. They love to talk about that big win over Orem at the beginning of the season. They love that big. That was so big for them, especially 4A, 5A.
Well, they're in the same neighborhood down there in Utah
exactly.
County. The kids know each other. The coaching staffs know each other.
So Jason Anderson will now punt the ball away to the awaiting Ryan Reed. And he'll let that go. And Skyline will down at the 25-yard line. So after Skyline scored the only touchdown here of the second half, we're in a little bit of a stalemate. We'll be back.
No dogs, no stoplights, no rain. Just getting fit, staying fit, losing the fat. Yeah, you can get fit with this. Into running, walking, you will reach your goal. You cannot stop. This is why. Keeps you moving. Call it motivation. Want it higher, harder, steeper? You will get there. You won't pound your knees, your ankles, your joints. This tells you where you are, how far you'll go, and what you'll attain. So when you get there, it gets out of your way. Space Saver Thin Line from ProFarm. Hey, this isn't much. This is smart.
The new ProForm Space Saver treadmill, more compact than ever. Call for a 30-day in-home trial.
Howard, you're a painting contractor, but you came into Eagle Hardware for lumber and fasteners. How come?
I like Eagle because they have everything and lots of it, and I like to get in and get out. I don't like messing around. I have 3 guys waiting for these screws.
Oh, really? What's that costing you?
Well, I don't know the exact figure, but
Figuring the benefits.
I want them working.
Eagle Hardware and Garden. More of everything.
Warm up any work site with propane heaters from Shoe. Great for any unheated work area. Safe, efficient, and easy to operate. Shoe products at Eagle.
This high school football championship game is brought to you by Eagle Hardware, Granite Furniture, Icon Health and Fitness, and the Dairy Farmers of Utah.
Hey, 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 now, hey, buy a ticket.
Cough up the big money, get inside the fence.
What is it, $5?
Squatters Hill over there.
State 5A football championship. We're back Orem now with the football. And Burge looking to go to the air, and he is wrapped up. And Austin Burge is going down. And give a sack to Jeremy Lyman, who's at 8 sacks coming into this game.
Interestingly, Orem High throwing the ball more and more, and they have had some success, but they've only run the ball for 15 yards here in the second half. Burge has had a lot of time to throw today, but not this time.
You've heard us call Lyman, by the way, throughout the day. That's his brother Josh, of course, carries the ball on offense for Skyline. Jeremy, the lineman.
Well, one thing that both these programs do very well is they have a lot of numbers. They don't have a lot of guys, and haven't over the years had a lot of guys who had to go both ways, play offense and defense.
Burge again. There's a flag in the backfield. Oh, the pass is hung on to by John Falmo, and Falmo, big yardage. He may go all the way. Finally caught from behind by Spencer Segota. The only bad thing is this whole play could be for naught. Now, you heard just before the snap,
and the referee's waving.
Yeah, he says bring it back. You heard the Skyline side. You heard one of the coaches yell, they're moving, they're moving. And then the flag went out.
Well, and oddly enough, this is Reese. You remember the 93 game? This is slightly similar. Orem had a big play called back in that game.
They did. The quarterback was over the line of scrimmage in a pass to their, oddly enough, their tight end. I think it was 84, in fact. It was the coach's son, John Clark.
Yep.
Went all the way in that one, and they called that one back. So deja vu, Dave.
You can see there's a flag there. Juggling catch, the broken tackle, and it doesn't matter. It's coming back, just like it did 3 years ago in the title game at Rice Stadium. Although that time they scored on that play. Here he's going to get caught down at the 10-yard line. Boy, Burge is doing a great job throwing the ball. He's off balance, rolling out. That is great concentration on that juggling catch.
Well, instead they have a second down now in 16.
You know, there aren't many kids left in that game, but for the coaching staffs, both coaching staffs, that's got to be a shocking memory.
Well, right there, Austin Burge had to get rid of that ball. That's incomplete, but boy, he was in trouble. He didn't get the protection he needed there. And he wisely dumped the thing off, and he did have a receiver over there. Garrett Harper actually was over there. So
you see trying to throw back, and he's just avoids a sack. Boy, he threw that right-handed. Shot putted that out there, but it was going forward. It's an incomplete pass. Although, you know, dive on it and ask questions later.
Exactly.
Burge now 3 of 9 for 68 yards.
Harold Lusk, University of Utah, New Mexico 2 years ago with an undefeated record, tries to pick up the fumble instead of falling on it. Whoops. The rest is history. Third down at 16. Burge again will throw. And that ball is batted away by the Skyline quarterback. Nice play there by Jason Anderson. He's tall, long arms.
We said at the beginning of our telecast that Jason Anderson does it all. The only time he even leaves the field is during kickoffs. You see him going back as the punt returner. He's also the punter. He's a great quarterback, and as you see here, a very tall and effective defensive back.
He's a great athlete, and you hate to take him off the field anytime you don't have to. We had him in studio last week after their semifinal win. Really poised young guy. A lot of high school guys in a live TV show would be kind of rough. He was great. He was in with Austin Burge, the Orem quarterback.
Especially after waiting for the college football game.
Yeah, they had an hour.
Did you feed them? Did you like buying pizza and keep the guys happy and that? Did you take care of them?
Yeah, Dave, sure.
Good. We'll be back here. Skyline hanging on to a 1-point lead.
We didn't want Plymouth Neon Espresso to be some ordinary Joe. So we added a little sweetener. Stuff like fog lamps, sporty front bucket seats, and 150 horses in a dual overhead cam engine. The result? The new Plymouth Neon Espresso. Now you can get all this and more for a price that'll really open your eyes.
See your Utah Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
On a discount airline, you don't get a reserved seat. You get a number.
Now boarding 1 through 60.
After that, it's dog eat dog. With Delta's low fares, you always get a reserved seat and a boarding process that doesn't have you racing around. Delta Airlines, Salt Lake's real value.
Total is $68.92. Oh no, I'm out of checks. $7 cash. Do you take this?
The one card? We sure do.
Okay. Should use that card more often.
The One Card from Bank One. Looks like a credit card, works like a check.
The Didi Corradini scandal, Sunday night on Take 2.
Skyline takes over now just inside the 50-yard line. They'll go to the ground game with John Christopherson picking up a couple. The Eagles holding on to a 7-6 lead. Just under 8 minutes to play here in the 5A football championship.
Boy, if I were an Orem defender right now, I would think about going for the ball, prying it loose. You need to make a big play happen.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead now in our coverage of the state 5A football championship. Really kind of led the team very well here in the second half as well. And he tries to keep it for the first, and it looks like that's the case. And Reese, you said you're right in front of that. So.
He just dived in between his center and guard. All he needed was half a yard, and he got it quickly. A lot better footing. He was able just to dig in and dive forward. Skyline just looking a lot more confident this half than they did the first half. They were tap dancing in the rain.
He didn't get it, apparently.
He didn't get it, Reese.
No. Didn't get it.
Nope. It's going to be 4th and about a foot. They moved the down marker on the far side.
They moved it back from where the original surge
was.
Well,
his knee apparently hit back at the 20 then, because he had dived. The ball was clearly across the 19. But they're saying his knee went down first, and Skyline's Brain Trust is talking this one over.
Well, this would be an awfully long field goal, 37 yards, and it's still a touchdown beaches. So I don't think there's any question they're going to go for it.
We're going to go ahead and give our icon player of the game away right now to Jason Anderson, who has run this team really in the second half darn near to perfection. They've taken care of the football, got the one score that they needed. At least at this point, it looks like they needed.
And if Orem scores, we will have another icon player of the game in a couple minutes. Well, there is still 3:39 to go, but
right now, Jason Anderson has the play from the sideline. And they only need half a yard. Peck and Lyman are behind him, and it's Peck.
Skyline thinks they've got it.
Well, if they spot the ball where the ball wound up, he got it.
Which is always crucial in football.
Well, they might have put it where his knee went down. Who knows? Boy, they moved it back from where the ball actually wound up.
Well, and on the last play, they did the same thing, Reese. That's why it looked like he had it.
Yeah.
And now they're going to.
They may measure this, but this looks like he's got it.
He should have it by almost the full length of the ball.
Oh, man. Ooh. Just the nose. Big first down for Skyline. Keeps the drive alive, keeps the clock moving, and they hang on to the football with that 1-point lead.
Are all the yard lines parallel down there, Dave? We got some hash marks over at the 19.5.
I'm not sure there. Clock continues to run now, and it's a first down for Skyline, and you know they're going to just keep it on the ground. Anderson gives to Peck. Peck will get a couple. Bryant Bailey, number 99, big lineman for Orem, in on the stop, and now they'll take a timeout. Orem will. And they've got to get, as you say, something's got to happen here for Orem in terms of, you know, a fumble or at least holding Skyline. But on the other side of the ball, Skyline's really been very efficient in this second half.
Well, this timeout will now leave both teams with 2 timeouts. Not that important a stat right now to Skyline unless they're about to take a penalty and they need to regroup. But for Orem, they've got 2 more chances to stop the clock with 3:04 to go in the title game, down 7-6.
Well, if Orem's going to win this game, they're going to have to stop Skyline in this series. They can't give Skyline another first down because by then Orem will be out of timeouts. And even if Skyline doesn't score, they can run out the clock. No 2-minute warning in high school to stop the clock.
Well, it looks like as Coach DuPay come all the way out onto the field. Yeah, he's in the huddle there. I'm sure just encouraging his guys to hang on to the football.
Yeah, their most effective weapon this second half has been Jason Anderson going wide, but I think they're playing clock now more than they are yards or points. And we'll see if they just keep it up the middle and play very conservative. Orem stacked up in the middle. They think they're going to do it. Here comes Jason.
Coming right at you, Reese. And he gets out of bounds.
Well,
but, you know, picked up good yardage, too.
He did pick up good yardage. But he did stop the clock for Orem as well.
He got a bad spot, too. Yeah, he actually stepped on the yard marker that indicated the first down. As he went out of bounds, they moved it back 1.5 yards. I don't know where they got that, but once again, Orem had stacked it up in the middle, anticipating right up the middle, and Jason just kept it around the short side of the field.
Anderson now 91 yards on 13 carries. 3rd down and 1. Peck is wrapped up. I don't think he's going to have this one. And in this situation, you might want to think about a field goal to force them to have to score the touchdown as opposed to
you couldn't get beat by a field goal, but you'd be kicking a field goal off the left hash, and that is an awkward angle for a soccer-style kicker. Most of the time when you see short field goals missed, you wonder, why did that guy miss it? Most of the time it's because he's on the left hash. All those years when Florida State lost wide right to Miami, they were always kicking off the left hash. And for a soccer-style kicker, that's the toughest place for a right-footed soccer-style kicker to be.
There's DuPay giving some words of encouragement to his team. He doesn't appear to be debating anything.
No, I think the way their line's been going, if nothing else, even if you don't score, you know, you're not risking a block kick and a return, which you might in a field goal situation. If you just, you know, run between the tackles, the quarterback sneak's been very effective for him in the 4th quarter. If nothing else, you make Orem go 90 yards. I mean, you're leaving it way downfield. And what's more, Orem has called this timeout, so Orem's only got 1 timeout to work with in the final 2:52.
Roger DuPay, 11 years as head coach of the Skyline Eagles. 104 victories, 27 losses.
And in the last 4 years, Skyline's playoff record is 13-1. That's their playoff. That's their playoff record. Of course, Orem's 10-2.
That's why they're both here. There's the pitch. Lyman to the outside, and again, you never know where they're going to spot it, but it looks like they got it here.
Yeah, they're going to spot it down about the 8-yard line. He needed to get to about the 8.5, so. They got it by a good 1/2 yard.
Yep.
Anderson getting rid of it just before he gets hit, and that dive got him the first. But the difference is with them having run out of bounds on one of the plays to stop the clock, the first down, they cannot run out the clock where they are, Reese. I mean, it's 2:40 to go in the game. Even if they score and kick the extra point and are successful, Orem will still have a chance with a touchdown 2-point conversion to tie it up.
1st and goal from the 8. See the time there, under 2.5 to go. The Skyline is leading 7-6. Lyman, touchdown Eagles.
Here's one more look at the touchdown that's just put Orem in a big hole. Skyline going up 13-6.
And Mark McGill's point after is blocked. In college, of course, it's a live ball. You can pick it up and run with it. Not in high school, so it's 13-6. And that actually helps out Orem a little bit if they can get down here and score. Very crucial. Bryant Bailey with the block. But Orem, the Tigers, are going to come back with 2:19 to play, and they've got to go the length of the field.
Looked like the pressure came right up the middle. So Orem, the good news for Orem is now they don't need if they get the touchdown, they don't need the 2-point conversion to also force overtime. And you got to remember, we have not had an overtime game in a 5A championship final since, last year.
Exactly.
Which was a great game, a great football game. Fremont and Skyline last year.
That was a sensational finish, no doubt about it, up at Rice Stadium.
The stage is set if Orem can move the ball down the field. The thing is, I think going into the locker room up 6-0 with the way they'd run the ball, they expected to be able to move the ball in the second half of their offensive line and just pound it out, and they haven't been able to. They've had to go to the air, but ironically, they've had some success on a very sloppy field throwing the ball. Skyline average is only about 40 yards on the kickoffs. I mean, Orem's probably, you can see Orem doesn't have anyone deeper than about the 9 or 10 yard line. Orem's probably going to get the ball between at least 25 and 30.
Mark McGill on the Granite Furniture kickoff. And again, Mark getting his team fired up here. This is his big moment, though. You notice the kickers, even for a day like we have, his jersey's awfully clean. The whole uniform's awfully clean.
If you're a kicker and you've got a muddy jersey, something has gone hideously wrong.
You're tough. I'll tell you that much. Weber State has a kicker whose jersey is always muddy.
He's one of a kind. He's a free safety who kicks.
Yep. Boy, that could have been dangerous. Low line drive kick, but they end up with good field position. Skyline is pointing that it's their football, but it appeared there were about 3 Orem Tigers that fell on that football, and they should have it at the 35-yard line. That is the case. So the Tigers need to go 65 yards, and they've got to get a touchdown.
Look at that line drive kick. And you're right, though. Too many blue and gold jerseys getting there in a hurry. Skyline didn't have a shot at it, but they have no chance of giving up the big return either. And now the question now is how far back are the safeties going to drop? How much room are they going to give them? 2:14 is quite a bit of time, and Orem does have one timeout left.
Spencer Zagoda is at the 47-yard line. Fumble, and Burge manages to pick it up. But, he took his hands back to throw, and it just slipped right out of his hand. That's how wet that football is.
Burge a little anxious, too, I think.
Yeah, he wanted to throw that ball in a hurry. So that's a 6-yard loss there, 2nd and 16, and the clock continues to run under 2 minutes.
Cost some time, cost him a down, and cost some yards.
Still, you can see Austin Burge trying to get those hands dried off. Looks like almost the same play. That one's batted, almost intercepted, very close. John Robotham almost had it.
It's amazing. Skyline put 4 guys up on the line, then they dropped 1 back. Then even the nose guard didn't rush. They were only rushing 2 men, and they get a batted pass.
Jeremy Lyman, the young man who batted that one, so now 3rd and 16.
Watching the replay, 56 stands right up. He's going to drop back, and then, boom, there's your tip right there. You only got 2 guys rushing. You're able to get a tip.
1:34 to play. Skyline leads Orem 13-6. The Tigers trying to get back into this. The screen is set up and nothing doing there. Harper immediately caught. And things not going well here for the Orem Tigers as Skyline trying to win a back-to-back state 5A title.
I think Orem's actually got time to throw the ball down the field. Skyline has only been rushing. This time they only rushed 3 men on a screen pass. There's 8 guys back. Burge throws it, but Skyline is ready. I mean, ideally, you want at least 4, maybe 5 or 6 guys to run themselves out of the play.
Isaac Bills is right there. 4th down and 16. Austin Burgess got to get his team past the 45-yard line. There's the pass, but it ain't going to be enough. And they're celebrating on the Skyline bench. Coach Roger Dupay and his Skyline Eagles will come out, and Jason Anderson will put the knee down, and another title. They just keep coming back.
This will be Skyline's 3rd title in 4 years. They're the first team to go back-to-back since Skyline went back-to-back in 76, 77. That's to go back-to-back in the largest classification. Right. Obviously, Ridge High School has a nice little string going right now. 3 in a row.
Jason Anderson, a fine senior leader for this team, had a good year.
For Skyline, this is the 10th state football championship in the 35 years the school has been open. And even more amazing, since the 5A classification was created in '93, Skyline will be 14-1 in the postseason.
That is an incredible record.
But you know,
Orem takes time out, by the way, to stop the clock.
This is an advantage for both teams, even though Orem is down today. You know, when you go this far into the playoffs, you play all those extra playoff games, you've got all those extra practices for the guys to improve. You know, you've got sophomores and juniors standing on the sideline for Skyline, getting used to the atmosphere, you know, waiting their turn when they'll have a chance to come out here and do it, getting used to it. Other teams have nerves when they get to these levels. Skyline juniors and seniors, they've been standing on the sidelines the last couple of years, watching other guys win for the Eagles. Skyline and Orem do a good job of taking what they get today and building on it, whether it's a championship or the runner-up. It pays off again down the line, and we're probably going to see both these teams back here in the next couple of years.
And Reese, you've followed this Skyline team for a lot of years, and you know they don't play really flashy, but Roger Dupay's system is very efficient and it gets the job done.
Well, you know how well that wishbone option works. I know the Utes know. They saw Rice running down their throats.
Yep.
A lot of teams have watched Skyline just run right over them.
The knee goes down once again, and we'll see if Orem opts. That's going to take care of that. There you have it, folks. The Skyline Eagles, once again, are your state 5A football champions. Stein is down on the football field where there is a massive celebration going on. Reese, I don't know if you dare want to fight your way in there, but a great finish to another fine year for the Skyline Eagles.
Yeah, a trophy celebrations presentation just about to get underway. Orem will get the second place trophy. Skyline the first place trophy. The entire Skyline student body is down here with their team. I'll tell you, what a celebration. There's nothing like winning a state high school football championship. This is something these kids are going to remember all of their lives, whether they played or whether if they're just fans or cheerleaders.
We've lost Reese. We've lost Reese. Alert. Well, it's a great finish, and once again, the Golden Domers, David, it seems like we see these guys every year, and they pull it off one more time. The Skyline Eagles are your state 5A football champions. And for the entire KUTV sports crew, we thank you for joining us for our presentation of high school football. The Skyline Eagles defeat the Orem Tigers 13-6.
On the next Side Factor,
What are they doing to my son?
a young boy is